Okay, hi, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the workshops this morning. I'm really excited to get started with our youth panel. The youth are a voice that we don't get to hear often enough, but they're the most important voice in this whole process. So very grateful to all of you for being here today. I'm going to start on this end with you, Ashley. If you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us your age, and if you're in school or working, what you're up to.
Hello, my name is Ashley Senegalo. I'm 19 years old. I'll be turning 20 this year. I'm just graduated high school. I'm going to college. And I'm working as a babysitter, and I'm also working at Stop and Shop. Yeah.
My name is Robert Marr, and I'm just after middle school. I'm looking for high school to go to. So that's it.
Hi, my name is Heather Kavanaugh. I'm 21. I'm a senior at Birmingham State University. And I'm currently working at an internship in Boston for a nonprofit organization called CASA. And I'm also a camp counselor.
Hi, I'm Maya. I'm 16. I'm going to be a junior. I'm working at Dunkin' right now, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
But wait, will you please share what you shared with me before this panel about what you're doing in September?
September, I got chosen to speak in front of like hundreds of people about adoption, and it's in Florida. It's really cool. They're gonna pay for our tickets, and then we're going to Universal and stuff. It's like a black tie, so I have to wear a fancy dress. My dad's gonna be up there too. I'm the key speaker though, so it's gonna be kind of crazy.
I'm Hannah. I'm 11, and I'm going to middle school.
Yeah, we're sisters. So this is a question for anyone on the panel. What age were you adopted, and did you understand what it really meant at that time? Who would like to start?
I was adopted, I think, 10 days. So I grew up like anyone else did. I just had a family. It wasn't really anything different.
I was 6 years old when I was adopted. I kind of understood what it was to be adopted because, I was already in foster care before that started being.
I was adopted at 10. Sorry, not 10. I was adopted at 12. I felt like I didn't fully understand. I knew that I wasn't going to go back to my biological family, and a lot of stuff was going to happen. So I definitely, because I was a little bit older, that I did have some sense of what was happening, but maybe not emotionally. I don't think I was really ready.
I was 14 when I was adopted. We were adopted together at the same time, so it's pretty cool. I was I really liked the foster home I was at, so I was kind of like, oh, I'm sick of meeting people, it's not working out, and just leave me be. But then I met my parents, and it was really cool. I was nervous at first. I had really short hair, so I was like, oh, they're gonna judge me. But then we had a bond right away. And it was really cool, and they didn't think I was weird because I picked up a pet. I picked up a worm and I called it my pet. So I knew it was meant to be.
I was 9 when I got adopted, and I was nervous at first, and I got what it meant, but it still felt
different.
So for all of you, whether the conversation about adoption happened with your foster parent or with your adoption worker, can you share with us how it was that they explained adoption to you and what you understood it to be?
So when I was adopted or I put into foster care, I didn't really understand. I knew I was getting taken away, but I didn't really understand why. And my my agent kind of explained it, and then I kind of understood what it was and why I was being taken away, but it still didn't really make that much sense to me.
For me, it was pretty apparent that I was adopted, because my family was pretty open about it, and I knew what it meant. But it didn't mean a lot to me, because I knew people that I were with, I loved and they weren't any different from any other family. So.
I had a social worker, and she explained to me that, well, I was in my third foster home for a year, a little over a year, and I knew that the next steps were adoption, so I had a pretty good feeling that I was going to be. So she just kind of explained to me and reassured me that, we're going to find you a good placement, and we're going to find you the right home and the right family. So I knew that I trusted her, and so I was pretty confident in her abilities. And yes, I was nervous, but I was also very excited to not be living in a foster home again.
I never really had what adoption was explained to me. I kind of just put it all together myself because I was in and out of foster care. And it's like, I knew it was like a forever home, like they would be your new parents, you would stay with them, like, yeah, like, in law, they'll be like your parents. And I knew that. And it was just kind of common sense to me. And like, I feel like a lot of my foster homes, I feel like I asked a lot of them, are you going to adopt us? And like, I didn't understand my parents have to lose their rights before I can get adopted part. So I was always confused and stuff. But then, like, once I got older, I realized they have to lose their rights before they can, like, actually get adopted. My social worker kind of explained it, and my sister kind of helped. And I was nervous at first, and I didn't exactly get it, but I still kind of knew somewhat, like it'll be a forever home.
Thank you. This is more of a personal question about your history, so feel free to share only as much as you feel comfortable sharing. But if any of you are open to sharing how it is you came into foster care, maybe exactly what had happened with your birth parents that brought you into the foster care system.
So when I was little, I was living with my mom, and when I can't really remember that much of what happened. I really only truly remember the bad stuff. But something really bad did happen when I was younger, and I got taken away. And I don't really remember how it was like for me to get. I was really scared, and I didn't understand fully what was happening. And next thing I knew, I was kind of just in a car and going to DSS or DCF.
My parents met me actually by trying to adopt my older sister, who was being adopted by another family. So as soon as I was born, I was pretty much adopted by them already. So I was adopted right out of DCF, and at a very young age.
My parents were alcoholics, and I wasn't in their custody, and I was in my stepsister's custody, and she was doing drugs a lot, and so I wasn't going to school, which was middle school, and someone filed the 51A, and we don't know who it was, but it was because I missed probably like a month in September, like that whole month of not going to school because she was passed out and not able to take care of me like she said she would.
The first time we were taken away, we were living in like a camper, and it wasn't really registered and stuff, and we didn't have running water, and I didn't make it to school much, and we would stay out late and stuff, and then my parents started getting into drugs. And, so my sister and I got taken away. She was like a baby. I barely saw her in foster homes and stuff. And then we went back like a year and a half after. And my parents were even more into drugs, and they were taking like 3 different kinds of drugs and stuff. Like, it was just crazy. I would have to like drive them home sometimes because they would fall asleep like behind the wheel and stuff. And I was only 7, 8. And we would miss so much school. My parents couldn't get up. I would have to feed my sister. I would have to find money and stuff to feed my parents also. I took care of everyone. And like my neighbors and my school, and they were like grateful for me, and they called again, and then back and forth and back and forth. And my parents just never could let go of the drugs. It's what my sister said.
Ditto. Thank you for sharing that. Let's fast forward a little bit to meeting your adopted parents. Can anybody share the story about how you actually came to meet one another? Was it through an adoption event, or did your social worker match you with your parents? What do you remember about it, or what story have they told you about it if you were too young to remember?
So, my dad told me, my brothers told him about me, and my brother Malcolm really wanted me to get adopted by them, which is how my dad found out who I was. The way I remember is walking up to a house, holding a stuffed animal, going in through the back door, I think, and first thing I saw were 2 dogs who freaked me out because I've never seen a dog before. And then next thing I knew, there's this big person trying to hug me, and I had no idea who he was. And he's like, "Oh my God, you're my sister." And it's like, "Oh, how are you?" And then so he was hugging me like crazy, and then I found out later he was my brother. So
Actually, how long had it been since you'd seen your older brother?
I actually didn't know who he was at the time. He was a stranger who was hugging me. Yeah.
I think it was my mom who made the decision to adopt my older sister, who was in a foster family at the time. I think she was around like 6 or 8. In the foster home, I actually decided to adopt her. So my biological parents were having me and my twin sister. So my mother decided to adopt me and my sister after they couldn't adopt my oldest sister.
Actually, so my mom found me. There's a book at the library in my town where she was just looking for another child that she was kind of like appointed to, but so she came across my picture, and then she contacted my social worker, in which then she said, "Oh, we found a match for you, we found the perfect family." And so in my last foster home, both my parents and one of my older sisters came to the house and we took pictures, and then we went out to eat. And so it was a really, really great experience. Definitely nervous, but really great experience.
My parents found my sister and I through here a few years ago. It was like really hot, I guess. They were thinking about not coming. So they were like, they live like an hour away, so they were like, come on. But they came and they were only looking for like a younger girl and only one. But then they found both of us, and there's something made them turn around, and then they talked, and then we got a call, and we got this little book. My mom made us both little books. They're like so cute. And just talked about the family, showed pictures of the house, of the animals. It was really cool. And we had our first visit. Was the corn maze our first visit? Yeah, and that's where I got my pepper. And it was pretty cool. So we got lost. We started just like pushing through all the corn, I guess. But yeah, it was cool. I wasn't ready, I was nervous. I was talking to them before I came up here, and they thought I was gonna be like pushy and stuff because they thought I didn't want to be adopted, which I didn't. Like I just wanted to be left alone because I met a person before them. And she was really sweet, she was bright and beautiful, but it just wasn't a match. And it was just, I didn't want to move because I came from New Hampshire. And I didn't want to move from all my friends and stuff, and I was just sick of moving. But we met them, and it was pretty awesome.
Us social worker kind of matched us up, and someone named Laura, she told them about us, and when she heard that they really were looking for girls, she was so happy. And so she told us about them, and then they came and visited me, went to the corn maze, and I think we went out to eat. Yeah. We got Chinese food. And we had such a fun time, and they gave us a Halloween mug. Yeah, with a Snoopy stuffy inside with some hot cocoa. And we just had a blast with them.
It sounds like you have a lot of really nice memories from that first visit and getting to know each other. Is there any memories you have of it being awkward, just meeting these people for the first time, or anything you can share about the transition really to getting to know each other as a family? Were there things that were challenges for you?
So when I first got, I was not very very comfortable with hugs or anything like that. So getting into a new family was kind of difficult for me. The one thing I can remember that helped my situation was that my dad just let me slowly get used to the family. And another thing is my brother was very pushy. He did not leave me alone. He would bother me every day and ask me to play video games with him. My brother Malcolm has never been really my favorite, but he was the only one who would play with me. The funny part is my favorite was my brother Anthony, who looks a lot like me, or so I've been told by my dad many times. That he was my favorite, but he didn't really play with me that much, so I don't know why he's my favorite.
I was extremely fortunate to be adopted at such a young age, so I was never placed in the foster care or anything like that. So I never had an awkward moment revolving around adoption. So
I think that even like I knew I was getting adopted, but in that process, there was a time where I was, my parents or one of my parents would come to the Cape where I am originally from, and they would take me back to their house for the weekend. And I always thought that the car rides were very awkward, and I would sit in the back seat, and I never sat in the front seat ever. So I think that like just communicating and like emotionally trying to express yourself to someone that you don't really know yet was like very challenging for me. And I like still continue to, I still see a therapist after years and just trying to just emotionally get through things and all these different things. So I thought that was probably like very challenging for me.
I'm a people person, so it's really awkward. I love talking and I love people. I would have to say, like, the hardest thing is, like, I think I know best for me, but they think they know best for me. So it's like, so it's like back and forth. I feel like that's, like, the only thing that was hard, was, like, letting them take control. I'm not a parent anymore. I can relax, be a kid. It's like, what am I going to do with my life? What? It's like really, it was different. But like, I'm a kid now, so.
The challenges we have is two foster homes before that. We met this family, they were gonna adopt us, but we didn't really, like, they were great people, so we got moved, and I felt like that would be us with this family. And I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and she pushed the boundaries. And they made me do what I did not want to do, so I kind of got upset. Like my sister said, I pushed the boundaries, but we still love each other, and it's gotten a lot better since.
Thank you. I'm curious how open you guys are with other people in your lives, like your classmates or friends or your neighbors, other people in the community, about the fact that you're adopted. Do you share that with people? And how do you talk about it?
Usually people can tell I'm adopted. I have two dads, and that's one fact that people know I'm adopted. Another one is, and basically there's only 3 dark-skinned people in my whole entire family. And then another fact is, usually when people talk about family, people talk about like mothers, fathers, and stuff. And then a lot of people, I usually tell a lot of people that I'm adopted. I'm not really embarrassed by that fact or scared or something like that. I also tell everybody that I have 2 dads a lot.
I like to be very open about being adopted. So a lot of my friends and people can know about adoption, and that's not really different. But like you said, I just lost the thought.
I think I was definitely like afraid to tell people because I felt like I was going to be judged, which I don't know why, because it's not a bad thing to be adopted. But once I got like a little bit older and I started to make really close friendships with some of my friends at school that, they were very understanding, and they, there's like nothing to be afraid or nervous about of just being adopted. It's not anything bad at all. And now I tell people that I'm like very close with in college now that like, they know I'm adopted, and it's not something that they really care about either.
I'm too open, I get a lot, so like, I share a lot. And I feel like if I'm open, I can make a difference, but it's kind of hard with people our age because they're really immature. No offense to anyone. But yeah, so My dad's always telling me, I'm like, I'm too open, I gotta be more careful. And I'm like, yeah, cool, and then I'll put my earbuds in, but it's okay.
I'm open to my really close friends and just friends because I know they won't judge me. And so they also won't ask that much about my birth parents because they might not know that. So I tell them. And I'm open. I think I'm really open to some people, but some people I know will judge me.
I have a question about birth family. So do any of you have connections or contact with birth parents or siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody who's part of your birth family, and how's that going? And if you don't, what do you think about that?
So recently I just started talking with my mom after not seeing her since I was 8. The first person I contacted from my biological family was my brother Tyreek, who I haven't seen in forever. He's only 1 year younger than me. But then he gave me my mom's Snapchat, and then I started, not Snapchat, sorry, Instagram, on social media. Anyway, so then my mom actually came to my graduation. The way she acted was so much better than what she used to be like. And then I'm going to see her again eventually. And I was the only one in my family, my biological family, my adoptive family. So I have 2 brothers who have the same mother. So I was the only one willing to give her a second chance. So I'm going to go see her again.
I don't know my biological family. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I would like to know them, but I can understand why maybe it's not like the best idea. But I do know my older sister, and it's sort of strange having a sibling that lives in another house from you, but like you're both so young, because when you meet each other, like so much changes. It's kind of fun to see them, but like it's hard to relate to what happens to them while they're young almost.
So I have an older brother who got married and then had a son. And he is just great. My nephew is really great, and he is probably the only one I do see now. I don't really talk to any of my other family just because I don't want to have to deal with all the other nonsense that they are with, and it's just, I don't want to have to go through all that. So my brother is definitely, he's like a big part of my life, and he's definitely gone through it with me, even though he is a little bit older, but I love him to death.
I used to have contact with my parents, but my adopted parents, like my parents now, I didn't tell them about it because I just felt weird, and they went through my phone. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. But yeah, they found that I was texting them and talked to me about it, and it's more like I was just having a hard time saying goodbye. I didn't like texting them or really talking to them because they didn't know how to take responsibility. They always try to blame everyone. Even they would try to blame me for everything that happened or my sister, and it's not our fault. I'm not the therapist. I have to cut this off. They're not ready. I'm not ready. We can't have contact with each other anymore. It was hard. I didn't say goodbye or anything. My parents just blocked them, and they're always trying to get in contact with me and stuff, and I'm just whatever. But I still have family. My uncle, he's awesome. I love him. He lives far away though, so I don't really get to see him much. I still text him sometimes. He just had a baby, Well, so I just had a baby. So it's like, it's cool. And then my great grandma I still talk to. But like, it's just some people in my family that are unhealthy. They tell me things that I don't want to know, like what's going on with my parents. It's like, I cut them off for a reason I don't want to know. And they don't understand that, and they keep telling me anyway. So it's like, I have to cut them off too. And it's like really hard, but I'm busy all the time anyway, so I don't really get bothered by it.
Well, my sister and I are both sisters, so we got adopted together, and we do we have contact with our uncle, and we have baby brothers that we get to see once in a while, and we have contact with their parents. Their adoption parents, they've been adopted too, but they live kind of far from us, so we don't really get to see them that much, and we've been busy.
So some of the people that are sitting in the audience here have already adopted before, and are here to say like adopt again. But a lot of them are going to be first-time parents or adding on to their family through adoption. So I'd really like to hear from you, what message about adoption do you want them to walk away with today? And I think part of that is I'd like to hear, why did you agree to come and sit on this panel today and talk about adoption? Why is it important? I hope you weren't forced.
I was not forced. I think. So I usually like to talk about what happened to me and how I became adopted. And the reason I like to talk about it is because I want people to know fully what they're going to get into and fully what they should expect, and not to really give up on a child just because they have certain qualities that makes it harder for you to connect. Eventually, they're gonna warm up to you, and eventually, you guys can get along. It's just hard, and you can't really push them because then they'll end up leaving you or something like that.
I was sort of forced by myself because I was very fortunate, and adoption can make such a big difference in someone's life. So I felt that it was sort of my responsibility to make sure that, I can influence parents and persuade people to adopt other children who are in need, because it makes a huge impact.
So my mom always says, or basically my whole family says that it's such a life-changing experience that it just changes everything in a good way, and that everyone always says, not just to me, but to the whole family, that we're so proud that you decided to adopt, because our family is so different in so many ways that you can't even imagine, and I probably wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for them.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Calm down. It's okay, it's okay.
Well, it's just, there's nothing you can really say. It's not simple. Every kid's different. Some are easy, some can adjust faster, some have a harder time. Some will test you till the point where you just want to run. Just like, there's nothing simple to say. But everyone deserves a home, and every kid deserves to be happy. They should grow up with a great family. Oh, guys, stop! Don't look at me. It's not simple, but like, it's life changing. I'm gonna steal this from my dad. Some people call it chaos, but we call it family. He loves saying that, and I agree. I think it's definitely chaotic sometimes, but we all love each other and we all see it through. And even if they're pushing away, just don't give up on them. They're just scared. Some people just don't know how to feel loved. It's hard. And you just need to help them as much as you can.
Oh, she got me. Oh, just me.
And like my sister said, and every kid's different, and some you might want young ones or older ones, but you should give every kid a try because no matter how old or how young they are, they all deserve a home. And they've been through a lot and they've lost a lot, so you have to understand that because they're going through a lot right now and you might not have gone through it, so you might not know how they feel.
Thank you. I'd like to leave a little bit of time for questions, but I want to ask the adoptive parents first of these panelists if there's anything you want to add. Just raise your hand, I'll give you a microphone.
I'm Robbie's mom. I just really encourage you to keep stepping forward, going through the doors to adopt. It's really hard sometimes when you're in NAP training and you're hearing all these, these stories, and it's really freaking you out. But I say push yourself through because your child is out there, they're waiting. It's all about timing. I know sometimes you feel like you're waiting forever, but it's because the right child is going to be placed with you. And I say push yourself because every single child needs to have a loving home, permanent home. I have 7.
I'm Hannah and Maya's mom. Like Maya said, we came here 3 years ago. It was an extremely hot day. We had been here quite a while. We had a couple matches that didn't work out. And we almost didn't come in. We almost didn't come, and then we ended up coming. Like she said, we were looking for one child. We have 3 older sons. We thought one little girl. To add to our family, we thought a younger child might be easier than an older child would have more baggage, more issues, be a little more difficult. They've both been a dream, but the older kids, they're done with all the stuff. They're just ready to find a home, find some love, and they know what they've been through, and they're ready to move on. So don't overlook the older kids, and they have a lot to give, and we're just very thankful that we did end up coming, and that we went back to talk to Laura. We went back 3 times, and it was a Saturday, and we sent an email to the social worker in the parking lot before we left, and the rest is history. So, thank you.
We'll open it up to questions. Does anybody in the audience have a question for any of the panelists? Yes.
Thank you. This question is for Ronnie. I'm Cassidy, by the way. So, how old, I know you were adopted as a baby, how old were you when you found out, and what was that like, how were you told?
I was my family was very open about it, so I was sort of gradually told more and more as I grew up. I'm not exactly sure what age I was when I really learned about it, but it was nice that my family was so open because it was very easy to understand.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Sanjali. I And I want to thank you so much for being here and for being so brave and sharing your story and your lives with us. I'd love to know, what is one thing that your adoptive families did that was the most helpful for you to feel loved and safe and feel like you could really be you?
Thank you. One thing my dad did that I really appreciate was he gave me a lot of time and space and kind of at night to help me with my anxiety of getting hugged. I would like to see some anxiety. He would hug me at night all the time, no matter if when I was younger, I used to say, I only hug him because he wants a hug. That's basically, he gave me confidence, and I am who I am because my dad chose.
Like I said before, being open about adoption is really helpful, especially for me because I was adopted at such a young age. But just being there and having or giving those opportunities really helps.
I think that my parents pushed me a lot, even though I didn't want to. They definitely gave me some space, but I think that they pushed me to do things that I didn't want to do and do things that they thought that would benefit me in the long run. And now I'm going to be the first person in my family to graduate college out of my biological family, out of my 4 biological siblings. So it's definitely an accomplishment, but sometimes pushing can be too much, and I definitely needed space and time in the beginning, but it's worth it.
Like trying to think like what to say. It's just, I felt so welcome, I guess. I think I'm going to go back to my hair situation. It was really short, and I was judged by everyone, but like they didn't judge me for the most part until like it grew longer. And now my brother calls me like Bieber, but like they let me be myself, and like they let me design my own room, and that was like my safe place. It's like I never was able to do that. Like, pick a color from my walls. Like, that was crazy. They were like, what color do you want your wall? I'm like, me? Who? That was like crazy. And they also talked to me. Like, they gave me my space. I'm kind of weird when it comes to like touching. Like, I love hugs. I'm a lovable person, but sometimes I just don't want to be touched. And in a certain way, like if you rub against me a certain way, I kind of like get anxiety. And then like I feel like they took the time to like get comfortable with me. They hugged me slowly, they just took the time to get to know me and know my boundaries. It's not like they just came up to me right away and just squeezed me to death. I was like really grateful for that because I was like nervous about how I was gonna be like handled and stuff. And like, I don't know, now like when they hug me out of nowhere, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm comfortable. And it's like, it's such a big change because I used to be like, hey, no, don't touch me. I mean, I'm still like that sometimes, but like, that's when I'm being a brat.
They let us pick out the color of our room even though they wouldn't let me pick black. So I picked my other favorite colors. But they also gave me time to start calling them mom and dad because I wasn't really comfortable calling them that. And then I felt like that's what they kind of needed so they know that I loved them. And so I love them, and I feel like they are my mom and dad, so I just kind of tried it out, and now that it feels good calling them by their actual names. So they gave me time to do that, and they gave us time to settle in, and they helped me get through the times that I was very, very mad at them.
I wanted to add something real quick. There was like one day, I was like, I said like your house or something, and it was like, I don't remember what we were talking about. We were outside, I was with my dad. We were like out talking, and I said your house, and he kind of like stopped the conversation. He's like, our house, and I was like, our house. And it was like really, like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. It's like, it was just really strange, kind of. I was like, your house, and he just stopped the conversation. And then, like, once he caught that and he did that, it was like, everything kind of changed. It's like, it's our house, our animals.
My truck.
No, my It is my truck. And my boat. Yeah, so like, yeah, it was good. Okay. Anybody else?
I'll turn it back to you guys one more time. Is there anything you didn't get a chance to say, or just remember it now, or think about now, or just really want to convey to the audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I love talking. What was I gonna say? Oh, you forget when you laughed at me. Thanks. Not every foster, like, adoptive home is gonna work. Like, my parents went through a few kids before they found the ones that were fit for them. We went through some, and it was like, it wasn't a good home. It was like really hard. I wasn't treated right by one of the siblings. So like we had to move, and it was hard. I'm like, great, we're never gonna get adopted. And it's like I wanted to stay at the foster home I was at last. And it's like, nope. But like it's gonna take time to find the right fit. Like don't give up after a few tries and stuff. Like you'll find the right family. There are so many kids out there that need homes. There's so many kids that social workers have to drive back and forth at night because they don't have a place to stay. I'm telling you, like, you're going to find the perfect fit. It's just going to take time. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being honest and open and vulnerable with all of us. We're really the ones who are honored to have heard your story. So thank you again for being here.